Is everybody feeling all right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling that.
Kind of like it's feeling alive. Feel like it's kind of slowing down as we went.
Yeah. What are we doing on the ending?
Is it sounding like it's falling apart?
Oh, a little bit.
Should we
hold it?
Should we? I was thinking if we're gonna let him hang over, maybe we should all just stop it clipped and let the guitar hang. You know.
It sounded weird. It sounded like a mistake.
Okay, let's try it that way.
Try it that way too.
She's my baby, my baby, my baby. Oh yeah.
That sounds pretty slick.
That's sharp. Well, bebop-a-lula, she's my baby. Bebop-a-lula, I don't mean maybe. Bebop-a-lula, she's my baby. Bebop-a-lula, I don't mean maybe. Bebop-a-lula, she's my baby, my baby.
I was amazed about how it got to be so much bigger than what I thought it would be. It really was like I was almost observing it, but I was involved in it. I mean, this is why I came to Nashville.
That I know, she's the one that loves me so. Bebop-a-lula, she's my baby.
It started because I was looking to do another record, and I was starting to write some songs, and like usual. And I was talking to my good friend, and he was like, "You should just do a classic country record." And I'm like, "Wow, that's a pretty good idea. I should do that." Well, maybe you ought to come over and cut it at the Quonset Hut. What? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's what I should do. That would be great. And it just snowballed from there. What if we got some of the guys from the A-Team? And what if we could get those great pickers in here with my band and some other guys and just really make some good music the way they used to, just sitting in a room and playing it together.
She's the one with the flying feet. She's the one who walks around the store. She's the one gets a mama.
It was the first studio on Music Row.
The Quonset Hut was magic. It's kind of a local treasure for Nashville, I think, because so many hit records were cut there.
Well, let's rock again.
I don't think there's anything bad ever come out of that room. So it means a lot to be back in there. It brings back a lot of memories.
Just wonderful, just beautiful. Real close to the way it used to be done.
We didn't want this to be a museum piece. We wanted to make it so that anybody listening to it can enjoy it without it, being all reverent. Even though we are reverent of the place, I mean, this is a magic place, but I felt like we kept it in the spirit of the place without making it stale. I mean, you don't want to do just completely derivative versions of these songs, and yet you don't want to spoil what's great about them.
You ready?
Go ahead.
All right, well, the purpose of what we're doing here today is sort of a pre-production sort of a deal. We have referenced several pictures and recording session, Mike. Come on, Mike. And trying to figure out where they put certain instruments to get their best sound.
Chuck and I have known each other since about 1983. He grew up in Lawrence, Kansas, and I went to Lawrence, Kansas as an undergrad studying music education. We met each other in the local music scene, played in battles of the bands together and that kind of thing, and eventually began playing in bands together.
My relationship with Mike Janis goes far beyond friend and professional comrade. I mean, it's family, We've been working on projects since it was a little 4-track in this house that he lived in. We had a control room, we had the band room in the basement, it was one of those places. It's just years and years of kind of leading up to this this is kind of our grown-up effort, really.
There's nothing fine. Yeah, he's making an egg.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
There's whoever's hanging around.
The joke
Yeah.
fence. Tonight's my night for big expense.
This feels better. The second.
Oh yeah. Let's get one coming. Waiting on me. Maybe I'm ready.
Right.
Let's do that. Let's just keep it in the same place and do another one
Okay.
like this. See what happens. Gotta tune up. One of my favorite stories.
Let's do that one more time. See, we're almost damn locked in on that. 1, 2, 1. When I first came to Nashville, I was playing in a joint downtown. 'Cause I'd always wanted to sing in the front window of Tootsie's Orchid Lounge.
When I was a kid, I grew up playing in my mom and dad's country and western band when I was 12 years old. We played Eagles and Elks and Knights of Columbus and Roadhouses. But then Jason and the Nashville Scorchers came to town, and I saw him playing this revved up version of country music, and I'm like, wow, I know that. And it made such a profound impact on me, because I always, you know, every band I was ever in anyway, we did a Hank Williams song, because that's just what I grew up with. Mike ended up moving to Nashville ahead of me and always saying, man, you should be coming down here, you should be coming down, because we would come down and play shows. And finally I decided to go pro.
Well, we certainly like to thank everybody for their nice contributions when the tip jar came around a while ago. We sure appreciate it. This is how we make our living down here, unlike many other churches.
Bottles were flying, people were dancing all over the place packed. There's swing dancers out on the floor, and BR 549 every night was throwing the best party on Lower Broadway.
We just started doing what we remembered, and that was Johnny Horton and Hank Williams and Ray Price and Webb Pierce, and then we learned more from there. But from the very first time BR ever played, we were playing our original songs, because that's what it was about down on Lower Broadway then. It was, you know, sure, you can do all this stuff, but let's hear one of your songs. You know, you come down here and you realize that they really do know what they're doing down here. You know, like the man said, you got to get with the teachers if you want to learn anything.
Well, they said honky tonk and hey, good looking, so lonesome I could cry. Rudy tooty, honey baby, no teardrops tonight. I played that rambling man from Alabama. With the help of everybody.
We were hoping that it was going to be fun, you know, coming up to the planning of it. That's what Mike said, we can't make it a drag. Because sometimes it can be a drag. But we didn't, and we walked in from the very first day when Old Crow, we started singing Wabash Cannonball. I was extremely relieved, because then it just, the weekend couldn't have gone smoother.
Oh, no. That's Sue. That's mine.
Then we started thinking about, okay, well, what was actually recorded here at the Quonset Hut, and maybe we should do a lot of that, and maybe we should do stuff that was representative of that, even if it wasn't an actual song that was recorded here. But you can't do a classic country record without doing a Hank Williams tune or a Roy Acuff tune, you know, to me anyway.
Here we go, boys.
So I call Catch Secor, who's a good buddy of mine from the Old Crow Medicine Show. And those guys, they're all good friends of mine. And I just love what they do.
Pacific shore, from the queen of the flowing mountains to the south, they'll by the shore.
Gil, who is the slide guitar player, brought in a 78 of Roy Acuff doing Wabash Cannonball. And so that we kind of started out referencing that. I'm glad you brought that. That's really cool, Will.
Now the eastern states are dandy, so the people always say. From New York to St. Louis and Chicago, by the way. From the hills of Minnesota, where the rippling water.
We'd done quite a few shows together last year, and we all sing together pretty well.
Now listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar, as she glides along the woodland or the hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo's call. He's riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball.
Those guys, they were into it because they understand, you know, the history of the place, and it was just such a great, that was such a great session. You know, I was showing my union card around town. You know, I don't do that very often.
Nashville wouldn't be Music City today if Owen and Harold hadn't wound up with their recording studio on Music Row.
Paul Coyne was going to take all the records, his recordings, to Jim Beck in Dallas. Owen said, I'll put up 15,000, you put up 15,000, Harold continue working. We've had 2 studios and we'll build you one if you like it, then I won't have to move.
This area that is now Music Row, which is full of publishing and studios, was a residential neighborhood at that time. And Owen and Harold put the first music industry business in this neighborhood.
There was a house here, and we knocked out the middle floor, and so it started with the basement. That was a small studio, but we were always trying to be in the film and recording business, and that was going to be our film studio.
So they decided to buy a surplus Quonset Hut and have it constructed.
It was the cheapest thing that we could do to build a big studio.
They began filming various country music, you know, like barn dance kind of shows.
It's time for Country Style USA.
And then Al Ganaway came from the West Coast and wanted to do the Stars of the Grand Ole Opry films there. And so he wanted to put wood down the walls and at one end where the control room is to look like we're in a barn.
Well, they liked the sound. And one of the things also was that they were getting booked a lot in the front part of the house. So they began booking the film studio as their second studio, and that began to take off, and they just went with it.
In the beginning, we tried several different setups.
They were searching for where the bottom sounds were, like out of the bass drum and out of the bass, and to see where the best sound in the room was, and we did that for several months, actually.
Once it was set up and the engineers knew what to expect, where the isolation was and how much leakage would occur in different mics, well, no, that was it. You walked in and you plugged in and you played.
And so from that point on, I mean, we got some hits out of there right quick. And so everybody started coming in at that time from all over the country, wanted to use that Quonset Hut.
Well, I would start with Crazy.
Patsy Cline, we did all her stuff.
Brenda Lee, I'm Sorry, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree.
Ray Price.
For the good times. We did that here. We did
Roger Miller, King of the Road.
Ernest Tubb and Red Foley. We did some great Red Foley things back there.
Conway and Loretta.
Bob Dylan did 3 records here, Blonde on Blonde, Nashville Skyline, John Wesley Harding. Simon and Garfunkel did The Boxer.
One that you may not know is Turn On Your Love Light by Bobby Blue Bland with his band back there. Sat and watched that, and really was amazing.
Harold was in on the session on Friday, and so we got pretty comfortable, you know, playing with him.
Same tempo we
should do it.
Yeah, that's a good feel.
It's a really good feel.
Then on Saturday it was the big day because Pig was coming in and Bob Moore was coming in to play bass, and it was going to be the big band.
When Bob Moore came in, he was right next to the piano, which is always where he was, and right across was, you know, Harold. They were very used to being in those spots, and they just locked in together like, you know, those 40 years ago were yesterday.
Well, all right. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The fiddles are squeaking, the guitars are speaking, and piano plays a jelly roll. The man on the drums is Bob from Dumb, and a bass man, he plays from his soul.
The A-Team guys from Nashville were the Nashville Booker T and the MGs, the Wrecking Crew, you know. They were those guys here. Harold was one of the guys, you know, along with all those guys that actually helped build this town.
Well, in the beginning, at Castle Studios, there were what I call the pioneer players. It merged into a team, the A-Team, if you will. It was Hank Garland, Grady Martin, myself on guitar, and then Bob on bass.
So I was working 3 and 4 sessions a day for several years back there. Some times that I didn't go home, I bought a 4-inch thick piece of foam rubber and laid behind one of the speakers back there, and I'd lay down at 2 o'clock in the morning knowing I had to get back up at 9.
And it was great fun because we were just learning in the beginning. And I credit Bob with a lot of establishing some of the bass lines that we use now.
Bob Moore is the bottom. He's your engine. And he'll tell you how it is. He'll tell you your engine needs a new transmission, and I'm it. It was really, really something looking over and feeling that, him and Marty working together. That freed up Mark Miller to do something else. And what we ended up doing was on Honky Tonk Hardwood Floor, we were a little authentic and funky. He put the paper between the strings and did the shake, 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 the little shaker sound that's very unique to that song. I forgot to call Pig back and tell him. I called him for the session and he said he could do it. And then I didn't call him back to tell him it was for sure on, so on Friday I got a voicemail and it's like, hey, this is Pig Robbins. Well, I never heard back from that session, so I guess it's off. And I'm like, no, it's not off. I got a piano coming in for you. It was just wonderful, the interaction of those two guys, you know, business as usual and yet of a sort of a homecoming at the same time.
On the honky tonk hardwood floor, on the honky tonk hardwood floor, you keep a having your fun, you lucky son of a gun, on the honky tonk hardwood floor.
Right.
That just sounds good, man.
I met Buddy years ago. BR 549 was still down at Roberts.
We were playing at the same time at a place called Wolfie's.
So I'm coming up to him and going, Buddy, I'm Chuck. I'm in BR 549 across the street. It's really great to meet you. And
Him being the humble, nice guy he is, he introduced himself to me as if I was somebody and he was nobody.
he played on some of the greatest records that you've ever heard of in country music.
First time I was in this studio, I was probably 19. I would sneak in the back here and just kind of listen, and one time I kind of peeked around the corner and Grady Martin was sitting over here in a green chair and he seen me and he threw an empty Coke can at me. In those days, whoever you were working the road with, you would also you'd be part of their band, and so you'd record with them too. So I recorded a lot with Hank Snow because I worked the road with him. And then I went to work with Ray Price, recorded a lot with him. Went to work with Kitty Wells, John and Jack, recorded a lot with them. And a lot of these sessions were done right here, or else down below there was a smaller studio. I'll admit I tend to live in the past because it was a happy, happy time. The particular guys that were here in those days, like Bob Moore and Buddy Harmon and Grady Martin, there'll never be anybody that'll compare to those guys again. It was a one-time thing, but this is real close. It's a real good band we have. I love everybody, and I love everybody's attitude, especially Chuck. I just hope this is a big hit for him.
He and Chris Scruggs have been getting together, and Chris is learning to play fiddle, and so they sit around, they pick. And to have him on the session was really extraordinary. You know, he's one of the A-teamers. Yeah, the guys I've been playing with for quite a while. Mark Miller, who played in BR 549 since 2004. He's one of the unsung heroes of this town. He's the best kept secret in Nashville as a musician.
Hey, idea. We're gonna do that at the top.
Yeah.
Rather than come in right with the vocal, do the little bit and then give him the setup on the jungle drums.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
No.
We're doing that same figure at the beginning, right?
I know. What I'm saying is rather than come right in with the vocal, give him the jungle drums first to set up before.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just an idea.
Right. Well, let's try it.
They took my blue suede shoes down to Old Mobile. Got to rockin' with the rhythm, run 'em over at the heel. Put your cat clothes on.
Chris and I have such a good history. He joined BR 549 Mach 2. We have an unspoken musical language, having spent a lot of time in the studio together and a lot of time on the road together and a lot of time on stage together. I mean, he's just a natural, pure picker.
I go straight downtown, pick up my female hillbilly.
Carco Clave, he's one of those guys, multi-instrumentalist, steel player, plays mandolin, guitar, banjo. You never know what he's going to pull out. He's another great secret in Nashville that's not so secret. Marty Lenz is the drummer, Martin Lenz, and I met him a few years ago. He knows right where to not put things. He plays the music, he listens to everybody. Not only is he just rock solid time, but he's got the vibe down and he's got the touch. And then there's Wes Langlow, who's a new acquaintance of mine. He and Chris are kind of like these young guys coming up that really know where it's at as far as, like, you know, studio playing in that direction. And, you know, I'm sure that those guys could do other things too. But that's what makes them so great. They really fit in with all those A-team guys, you know, without making it, you know, too much of a cliche. It was a passing of the torch in a lot of ways. Young guys and old guys coming together and making great music and talking, and that's the way we communicate, and that's what we do here in Nashville.
That's great. Yeah, Tootsie was married to Big Jeff. Yeah, that's right.
There's pictures of like a 17-year-old Benny Martin playing fiddle with Big Jeff.
Thin guy.
Real skinny Grady Martin too, playing fiddle.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. Grady was a fiddle player. They were saying that. He was a fiddle player first. And so was Don Rich, really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that something?
And Joe Maphis and Chet and Jimmy Bryant and all those
Even
good
Hank
guitar
Williams.
players.
Even Hank Williams could play fiddle.
Well, Cowboy Copus or any of them, it started with the fiddle, with Natchez the Indian. When they started that act, it was just a fiddle and steel, and you'll see in all those old pictures, it'll be one guitar player, singer, and a fiddle player. That was a band.
Well, even Acuff came to town just to be a fiddler, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah, and Ben's, he was shy about his fiddle playing. He sang, and they got more mal on that Great Speckled Bird than they'd ever got, and so that was the beginning of the singing. And they noticed too on the early fiddle players' recordings, like John Carson, if he sang, he sold more records than Eck Robertson and some of the other ones that were just instrumentals. And Eck played that early stuff without no guitar. It was just fiddle unaccompanied. Somebody asked him, well, you don't like guitar? He says, no, I don't mind if they can keep up. Hey, you were keeping up last night. That was awesome.
Hey,
you
thanks.
played some great guitar. I didn't know what you'd do because I was just seeing how fast I could play old Joe Clark, and he just played the fire out of it, just like he was Hank Garland. That was good.
Thanks, buddy.
And what if we had some guest singers? Wow, that would be really, really great. So we ended up asking Bobby Bare to come in and sing a Carl Smith tune with me. He was really good friends with Carl, and I got to hang with Carl a little bit, and he's sort of an unsung hero of country music, and he was Elvis around here, you know, in his day. And so, you know, of course I wanted to cut a Carl Smith tune on this record, and to have Bobby Bare sing it with me because there's that relationship, it was really great that he could be involved.
Hey, Joe, quit that waiting, hesitating. Let me out, or what's the matter? You're as slow as any Joe can be.
Now come on, Joe. Just follow the stairway to this lonely world of mine. You'll find me waiting here in apartment number 9.
We owned it from 1955 through 62.
The Bradleys sold the property to Columbia Records. And over the next 20 years, as Columbia's business expanded, their building expanded. But the Quonset Hut never got torn down. They just simply built around it. In the late 70s, early 80s was the end of the era of the company-owned recording studios. The last session in this room was the tracking session for John Anderson's Swingin'. The day after that session, people were in here, they were doing inventory, removing stuff, you know, getting ready to auction stuff off. From 1982 until basically around 2005, this was the art department for Sony Columbia. It was for sale for a couple of years, and then Mike Curb purchased it. His original intention was to rebuild the inside of this, sort of the way it looked back in the 60s.
Not so very long ago, you went away and left me.
One of the things we discovered after a while was you couldn't really build it like it used to be. That was a great era, and let's honor that, but we need to move on with something else that's going to be more practical for all of the different things that go on in the Quonset Hut. The primary tenant, you could say, in the Quonset Hut now is Belmont University's Mike Curb College of Entertainment and Music Business. And one of the things that I liked about bringing Chuck in was that I used students extensively throughout it. I used them to help set up and tear down, take notes, do all the things that professional assistant engineers do that these kids need practice at.
In apartment number 9.
It looks entirely different, to be honest. I don't see the old wood along the sides of the wall, and so it's a different look, but it's a good look. I'm amazed that the sound is as good as it is in there, because the last time I saw it, it was just a shell. They've really done a marvelous job with it.
One, two.
watching our Hee Haw DVDs, like we do religiously. And Conway and Loretta come out and they do this song called Pickin' Wild Mountain Berries. And I mean, like, it raised me out of my seat. This is the one that I was looking forward to. Not only was I looking forward to seeing Elizabeth, who I love, and I'm good friends with her husband too, so don't get any of the wrong ideas, but she's just fantastic. You know, it really doesn't get much better than Elizabeth Cook.
That's our excuse every time. We've been busy making merry and picking wild mountain berries.
I can listen to those tracks and really put myself back in the recording of it, which was such a great feeling. And I just hope that that feeling is conveyed to people who don't know anything about it. What started out as what I would consider as sort of an in-between project ended up being something much more than that, and something as artistically gratifying as writing all the songs. I think that we did our job in the sense that we didn't make it a stale history lesson, like, this is the way country music should be, because who am I to tell anybody how they should make their music? Harold Bradley said it to me when I gave him a copy of the advance of this record, and he said, Chuck, you hit it. You did it. And that's enough validation for me.
Who's that girl wearing nothing but a smile and a towel in a picture on the billboard in the field near the big old highway? Here I'm in my Jimmy hauling freight from Chicago to St. Louis. Lord, I see her every day. A double clutching weasel like me could never ever get a girl to wanna ever look at him that way. Like a girl wearing nothing but a smile and a towel in a picture on the billboard in the field near the